Hi everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Sunday to you and your family. Hope you're having an amazing day, and I do hope that you're not spending too much time in the charts and getting some good quality time in with family and friends, which I'm about to do here in a moment. That being said, though, we got to take a look at Pepe, seeing what's going on. I got a lot of requests for this. We're going to talk about our fair value gap here, as well as some liquidity levels, and make sure that we understand what that means and how that's going to work for us. So if you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor. Got a lot of a lot of experience, for lack of better terms, and I just like to be able to share that with the world. So if you do want to become a better trader, of course, cryptocash.tech is a site. Link down below. We have an awesome Discord community here with some really cool results here. As a matter of fact, what is it? We took a nice little treat. Basically, we're doing some trimming over the weekend on BCH, still 20% there. We took ETH, a little 5.5%. BNB 9%. Pretty much every day we're hitting some nice little profit targets there. Litecoin another 9%. But just awesome stuff here in the overall sense of the word, right? So cool stuff. Congrats again to our community members for that. Really cool things. And again, it's just kind of part of something that you can have if you want. But what we want to talk about here, I think, is more important. What led to the recent drop from Pepe, right? I sent this tweet out here. I believe it was on Thursday evening. We had 5 wallet approvals that were required for transfers. Reduced to 2. Okay, so that caused a lot of pandemonium, a lot of problems, if you will, and the price dropped a good 20% in just a short amount of time. Okay, so again, all this is available on my Twitter, of course, but generally speaking, that led to this most recent retracement, which was not really truly expected. But what we can expect is the price to potentially recover, fill those fair value gaps, and kind of go from there. So let's talk about that really quick. We can kind of see here, let's go ahead and zoom on in. We got a nice little fair value gap there with the price action coming down so hard, so fast, between roughly about 105,000, down as low as about 95,000. So 95 to 105 is effectively that range for that fair value gap. The price did try to recover yesterday, came into that zone and rejected initially. Okay, so we do have this bearish type of continuation. You got to recognize just because something drops doesn't mean it's just going to increase and go parabolic because of that. We get kind of used to that in crypto because sometimes things just happen. A lot of volume and manipulation, for lack of better terms. But traditional trading, a coin that has this kind of decrease, you typically want to wait for it to increase and establish higher lows at the very least to effectively give us that transition. We can look at that on smaller time frames to see if that's happening, but for right now, there's no sign of it. Okay. We also want to double check too, of course, we are in this liquidity zone here where there's a lot of liquidity that was grabbed. If you kind of look at this here, that was a case in point right there. So the lowest low we saw initially, effectively after the first increase back in June, is on the 15th. That was the lowest price we saw, about 82,000. Price ramped up and did really well from there. There's a lot of liquidity there. In other words, there's a lot of value there that the whales or whomever's manipulating the price in this direction is accumulating. Okay, so right here at this point, we can see that the price action is essentially increasing. Okay, so we do have that little bottom there, so that does tentatively tell us that could be the bottom. Now let's look at some other indicators too and kind of see if that is effectively the case for us here. So let's see if there's anything else kind of letting us know. We do have RSI right at 30 there. That's typically a good sign, a good bouncing point. Now, not always the greatest indicator because keep this in mind, Bitcoin, for example, recently has been stuck at under 30 on the RSI for a while now. We hit like somewhere in the range of 15, which is unknown or extremely uncommon, okay? That being said, again, fundamental catalysts, some things happen there, but for lack of better terms here, we see this being at a low point. It would be safe to presume that the price action should increase from here. Money flow index is coming down, however, but our stochastic is telling us to start to swing upwards. So this being the second swing leads me to believe we could see the price action increase here soon. Okay, so that's tentatively a good sign. We can also see the MACD is diverging less today than it was yesterday, so we might have hit that peak. And we are effectively in a position right now where we are still fully bearish. I would not expect the price to recover instantly, but it does feel like we're overextended to the downside, and we are in a position right now where we're starting to hit that bottom, that tentative bottom. Now keep in mind, it could come lower. A lot of times what happens, we will see this previous low here essentially work as either a resistance level or, more importantly, this liquidity grab here. Okay, because again, there's a lot of it's always one of those situations where it's a lower type of low on the higher time frames. So that being said, right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see just one more wick down before the next leg up, but we are reaching the tentative bottom. I like to emphasize the word tentative because there's a big shelf here if the price action does decrease from here. So be mindful that it could be a complete wash, right? So again, the price does decrease from here, for example. The next most recent high, which is typically going to work as a support level, is about 50% of the way down. So if you want to cut your losses, now might be the time. But keep in mind, there's a little bit more likelihood of the price increasing at least to fill that fair value gap to that 105 range. And that's probably more likely than the price going down from here. But just bear in mind, stranger things can happen. Okay, so that's where we're at with Pepe. So that is roughly the initial sense here. Let's look at the 4 hour and see what's going on. RSI is barely over 30, which is fine. Stochastic is starting to swing down, telling us that we could see that momentous push down, but I don't think that's going to occur. I think we're probably more likely to increase based on the MACD here swinging upwards here for the first time in a couple of days. So all in all, 4 hour time frame does look fairly decent, but we aren't even above the 20-day SMA just yet. I would love to see the price action kind of stay where it's at for a little bit longer and then continue to increase from there. That'd be really nice. Let's take a look at Fibonacci really quick as well and see what kind of levels we got. We have a resistance level, which we can see pretty clear as day, right at the bottom part of that fair value gap at about 94,000. So 94K is essentially a key level resistance. So if you're going to be, day trading, for example, you may want to consider some nice tight profits between now and there to ensure that you get filled. The price pulls back, you at least got a little bit out of it. Okay. Again, with us, we like to have multiple targets on our trades, for example, and we have a situation where we take, a majority of our position in the first couple of instances. So it's good to kind of take profits and make sure that you are remaining profitable and let the rest ride. If that's the case, just sell a majority of your position and let the rest go. Again, different strategies for different scenarios. But for right now, the way the market is right now, Bitcoin kind of being stuck on stupid. A lot of alts are hesitating, wanting to increase. They want to come down before they come up. So you want to be kind of careful and cautious and take profits when you can. All right, so that's the 4 hour there. Last thing is just the hourly. Probably going to be telling us a very similar sort of story, but let's go ahead and see. We are still below the clouds, so I'd say another 3 or 4 hours. No, actually, let's say another 5 to 10 hours, and then we're good. What I mean by that is we want to be at the current price point or higher within the next 5 to 10 hours in order to have the confirmation of the price action to continue to break out. Because again, we haven't seen, I was talking about this earlier, for higher highs and higher lows, we don't have that yet. While we did have that initial, dead cat bounce where the price came up and then came right back down, it still isn't really concrete, right? So we got tentative higher lows, but we don't have any higher highs. Okay, and the price is mostly going sideways and we're still within the cloud. Those are all reasons to kind of hesitate and wait. To me personally, if I was to do a swing trade here, I'd have entries at multiple targets. I'd get in roughly right now. I'd have another target here and another target here to average my price down if it comes down to grab that little extra bit of liquidity, and then essentially have a nice average price here. The price continues higher, and then I take some profits right close to this range. Again, there's different strategies for everything, but for me, like when I send out my swing trades, I'm speaking to my community here as well. When you see those swing trades, like a lot of them are designed to ensure that the price comes down, we still get some kind of average position lower. But if it comes up, we got the skin of the game. We got the opportunity with a half position, if you will, to be able to take those profits. All right. Again, that's just kind of how I like to word it, or structure my trades, if you will. I don't always do that, but for right now, based on the current market, you can't be too greedy. You got to have tighter targets. So that's kind of where we're at there. So I'm not by any stretch saying that we're going to see a parabolic behavior from this coin. We need to establish higher highs and higher lows first, and we're getting there. We're right at that transition, and we might be there soon. But I would say by the end of today's trading day, if we get the price action at 8,900 or higher, we're probably in pretty good shape. I hope this makes sense. Thanks again so much for watching. And if you again want to become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech is the site, link down below. We do have our summer sale right now as well. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take good care.